Sean Lentz here from Appalachian DIY, and today we're going to be making a fire ring. We still have some components left over, like this dryer drum from when we disassembled that dryer, so we're going to use this as our ring for the fire ring, and we're going to add some components to it to spice it up a little. Okay, so what we're going to do is cut off the top of this drum and get the height that we need for the fire ring. Okay, this turned out really nice. It's nice and even all around the edge. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take some cuts down the side to this edge right here. What we're looking to do is we're looking to fold tabs over to beef up this edge, because you're going to be throwing logs and stuff in here that are heavy, so this edge is going to take a little bit of a pounding. So if we fold that over, it's going to give it a double layer and beef it up a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm cutting the tabs in, and I'm cutting them into 4 sections, and each of those sections I'm cutting in half, and then I'm cutting them in half again. So I'm going to wind up with a total of 16 tabs. Okay, what I'm doing here is taking a C-clamp, attaching it to the tabs, and then just bending them over. The next thing I'm going to do is take my vice grips, take my welding vice grips, and just go around and crimp everything tight. I'll probably do this a couple times until I get it to where I really like it. Okay, so we got the general shape of our fire ring in. As it is right now, you can go ahead and use it. But I told you I wanted to spice it up, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a cooking rack on this, put a piece of rebar here with a cooking rack that'll swing out over the fire pit, and also we're going to carve in some cool stuff for designs maybe under the side and make it look really neat. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut some lettering into this, and I'm going to use the angle grinder for a lot of the long stretches of the letters. And then when we have most of it out, all of these long pieces that you can see here, we're going to use the Dremel tool to get out some of the round pieces and smaller, hard to get angles. Okay, so we put some cuts on the side. This is to help with airflow into the ring. Helps it burn a little better, and also it makes the it look a lot nicer. We also got the name in here, so that turned out really well. And on to the next part, which will be a rack where we can cook hot dogs or hamburgers. So that'll be mounted onto the side. And that'll be done with some tubing, so we'll get to that part next. The next thing I did is get some old pipe and cut it to length on the metal bandsaw. The first thing we need to do is drill some holes into the pipe. Now that we have the holes drilled in our tubes, we can start to make the handles that is going to tighten down the grilling rack to keep it in place. This bolt and nut is going to be part of the handle. The bolt is going to be the stud for the handle, and all we're going to do is take this and we're going to weld the nut onto the pipe. We're just going to C-clamp it together and then just tack around the nut. And then this will be able to turn to pinch off the rebar inside. Okay, what I did is I got myself some round stock. This is 1/4 inch. I've got a 3-foot piece at Lowe's for around $3 to $4. If you don't have this, you can take a 4 to 6 inch hex bolt, cut off the threads and then the head, and then you got yourself some 1/4" round stock if you don't have round stock available. What we're going to do is we're going to weld this on here as a T-handle. That way we can cinch this down and it will pinch off the rebar inside. There you go, there is the T-handles. They'll just screw down. Turned out pretty good. The next thing we're going to be doing is attaching our pipe that's going to be holding our rebar and grill plate. We want to make sure this first piece is straight because this determines whether it's going to be angled or not, so we want to make sure it is straight up and down. Now that we have these pipes and T-nuts done, we're going to move on to the cooking rack. And basically what's going to happen is the rebar will be up through here. This bottom tube will be welded to the rack, and then we'll have one up on top as a support, kind of like that. So we'll get this all welded together. Okay, so we have one of the posts welded up already, and we are just going to attach this other one. Okay, now that it's tacked in, we'll just create a bead above and below it so it stays on pretty good. The last thing we need to do is attach this bottom piece to the cooking rack, and the cooking rack will be complete. Okay, so we just finished up putting the welding rack together. We got everything together, and this is the complete project. I just gave everything a complete quick paint, and if you want your color to stay, you're going to need to either use a grill, caliper, or engine paint, something that's high temp, because this is just going to burn off if it's regular spray paint. The way this is designed, you can use it just by the ring itself. You can take this cooking rack and post completely off. The cooking rack will adjust up and down and even swing out for you. So I really like this build. It's a pretty good design and I like it. The only thing I might change is probably the material I used for the ring itself. This is a dryer ring, so it's pretty thin. And I would usually go, probably next time I would go with either a washer drum or a truck tire ring itself. The washer rings or drums are a little bit thicker than this, and the truck ring would be even better because the weight of our cooking rack is being supported by the ring. Other than that, it was a fun build to do. I hope you guys check out more of my projects at AppalachianDIY.com, and I hope to see you next time.